uh, within the political landscape. This afternoon, I have the pleasure of hosting a former special advisor on media to Senator Kola Balogun. Actually, he's a member of the PDP team. And when I tell you today that he's also vying to represent the Southwest and Northwest federal constituency, but now under the SDP, and actually is currently the acting publicity secretary of the SDP in your state. You'll be wondering what kind of a man is this. It's my pleasure to welcome my brother Adeni Rotimi Johnson. We call him Ojasokwe. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Laolu, and good afternoon, our listeners. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. And because we do not have much time, actually, I just want to let us start from the basics. Anyway, meanwhile, I'm yours sincerely, for you can do nothing against the truth. But for the truth, I am Laolu Olatunbosun. Let me say, why did you dump the PDP? You are a member of the media team, and why did you part ways with Senator Kola Balogun? Will I be right to say that too? And is it due to ambition, or there were some differences?
Well, long story.
Tell it short.
Shortly, dissatisfaction with some inherent things, and which I complained about, not about my principal actually, but operational dissatisfaction.
You don't want to make those ones public? Let us know.
I've overflogged it. I think I've overflogged
Flog it again.
Well, there are operational dissatisfaction, like I said, essentially about particular dividends of democracy being channeled to my followers.
Okay.
Not in my professional discharge of duty. And I felt if I'm in an office, a political office, and my followers are not benefiting directly from that office, I will be called to book and I will be guilty as charged. So it's on that basis, nothing more than that. I think I've flogged it peripherally.
Well, that is not entirely acceptable to me. But this is the way I want to go about it. That
well, maybe if you ask specific questions.
Well, you see, I was just coming to that. You see, when you say dividends of democracy and that your followers are not pleased, and I want to ask you, do you want to confirm that after all, it's not all about service to the people, but it's about what is going to come into the pockets of people?
Of course not.
How do you mean when you say
as a professional? That's why I said nothing in the discharge of my professional duty. I'm a professional. I'm also a politician, and the two must be married together in my discharge of
what
duty.
Essentially did you expect that should go to your people, which never got to them?
Because I'm a politician,
right.
I have followers. I've contested elections before. I have people in the same political party who were looking up to me for some benefits, some form of empowerment that will come from the senators. And after making attempts, talking to the administrators, why I need to have slots to give to my followers, and that was not coming. So that's why I said it's different from my professional discharge of duty.
Are you in the list saying that Senator Kola Balogun failed you, or failed to do what you thought was necessary from his angle, and that was why you dumped him?
I use the word administrator because he was not the one directly in charge of some of this discharge.
And was he in the know when you were?
Yeah, I complained.
And what was his reaction?
He did his best to pacify me.
He is the senator. How can he know and he couldn't effect any change? Who are these administrators that have become more powerful than the senator himself?
Well, in the political setting, you can't do it all. That is fundamental. And when you have people who believe they are closer and they have been with him longer than you, because I came in 2018, October 2018 to be precise, and there are people who felt they are closer, and I was beginning to get too much attention, because if there was a loan disburse, let me use that a particular example. There was a loan disburse in COVID loan disburse, and I was removed from the list, and I asked questions, and the person in charge told me that he thought I don't need money. You know, that kind of, I'm just using that as an example.
And so when you reported to your principal?
No, he felt very bad. He was so mad.
And what did he do? Because I'm thinking that if he did what he needed to do, and you were okay
with
it.
People involved are also my leader, so he will not revert to me.
What kind of leaders do you have that do not care about your welfare or the welfare of your followers?
And that's one of the reasons why I will tell you categorically that we should be very careful in selecting or electing leaders in 2023, because there is so much expected from the leaders, and some of these expectations as a result of political ganging, sort of, and that's why they can't meet up. It's not because they don't have the intentions. So you must have the intentions and have the political will to be able to discharge those intentions, not minding whose horse is God.
So these leaders you're talking about, they are in the PDP, right? Of course, yes.
Interestingly, they are no longer in PDP.
They are no longer in PDP. So what brought about their own else? What brought about their own exiting PDP too?
I wouldn't know, because I hesitated PDP before them. So I hesitated PDP.
And a lot of people told you.
One thing that I must clarify, because I would not want to say, because I'm no longer working with Senator Kola Balogun, to now paint him in bad light. I've had and seen some people, but I'm not in that category. I'm no longer in the same party with him. I left PDP before him, because he was even one of the...
Do you think as your leader he did well when you were displeased and you complained to him and he couldn't?
It's not all about me.
I understand. It's about you. It's not all about you only, you want to tell me.
Yes.
Because you needed to please some followers of yours too, right? And the so-called leaders sidelined you somehow. You reported to the principal, and the principal couldn't fix it. And you say you're not at loggerheads with him. So why did you leave the PDP?
In fact, I didn't leave the PDP immediately.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, Senator Kola Balogun was one of the main reasons I stayed long in PDP, because when I was dissatisfied, I was not having any contractual arrangement with Senator Kola Balogun. No, I was not having any contract.
So you had
was not formally even engaged.
And Senator Kola Balogun.
So Senator Kola Balogun, it was just a gentleman arrangement that I came.
Between you and him?
Yes. So there was limit to what I expected from him.
Okay.
But for my followers, if I'm going to stay with you, my followers must.
Oh, come on.
No.
You don't want to.
It shouldn't be my issue of discussion now. He left PDP, good. We all read it in the newspaper.
If there is nothing wrong between you and him, if you worked with him as a gentleman, you should also be able to say something about him.
I'm not in a position to say some things about him any longer. Not in the public. I have I have a very good relationship with him till now, but I'm not in an official position, or not even unofficial position, to say anything about him. I'm in SDP. He's an APC senator.
And a lot of
if
people
you are asking any question while I was with him, oh my God, I can tell you categorically, by the grace of God, that I am more than capable to answer you.
Maybe
I left on the 28th of October.
I'm coming.
Anything before
my question to you, maybe you did not get me correctly what I wanted. I mean, you've been with him, so you were in the know of some things that were going on.
Of course. While I was with him.
While you were with him.
Yes.
Now, that eventually climaxed into his exiting PDP and now in the APC, right? Some things must have been happening. I mean,
I left October. I think I left APC in October. I left PDP on the 26th of April this year. And I think he left PDP in June or July. So I wouldn't know, because
are you saying all was well while you were with him, while he was in the PDP?
Well, while I was with him in the PDP, all was well. Of course. And people have a way of showing you, facially, that all is well. Because what left to his leaving PDP was just a rift between him and his principal then, which happened to be the governor. So,
and you tell me you don't have any knowledge about
what? I believe very strongly before I left that all was well. Like I said, if not for Senator Kolabal, he has had cause to tell me a couple of times to still wait.
That he was leaving, right?
No, not he was leaving. That I should not leave the party.
But
because my expectation was from the governor, not from him.
And
so that's why I said my arrangement with him from the beginning was occupy till I come.
Now that you left, are you saying the governor did not do well to you, so that was why you left?
I'm not all knowing. I left the PDP.
Why did you leave the PDP?
Oh, now why I left the PDP? Of course, I was dissatisfied that I've not been gainfully engaged in the party.
What were your expectations that did not come to fruition?
Well, for somebody that has been along since when the governor was was aspiring to be a senator.
Okay. Many years back now, right?
Many years back. And from what I believe was the good relationship we had, I had an expectation that if I have served him this much, no matter how small, I should have been compensated, knowing that I'm also a politician and I have aspiration.
Right.
And that was not coming. There was no communication again. And
how do you mean? You couldn't reach him? You couldn't talk to him?
Well, occasionally, but there is no guaranteed communication. And guaranteed communication, like I tell people,
what's powerful? Guaranteed communication.
Yes.
What is that?
The guaranteed communication is right. I can call you and be sure that there will be response. If there is no response, there is no communication. So that's guaranteed communication. For instance, now I needed to let you know I've gotten here.
Roger.
If I call you and there is no response at that critical period, and I have to sit down here for the next 5 hours, not knowing whether you are coming or you have changed the appointment, or I should not even bother again. That's no communication.
And so you made up your mind and you left.
Well, there are other things that I believe time would reveal. Because in politics, I always tell people that there is absolutely nothing that is secret. It will only take time to come out. But there are other factors. I would have been patient, actually, in all sincerity.
Exactly.
I would have been more patient. But when I heard that I have offended the governor for many years ago that I didn't know, and he probably had that against me, and I put that across to him, and he did not respond. That's why I said guaranteed communication. I pleaded like I've never pleaded with anybody.
There was no response.
Still, there was no response. Then I told myself that I don't have a leader in this situation. So because the essence of leadership is that you are taking a lead, we are following. So if you are not looking back, that's why I said guaranteed communication.
I understand.
To confirm that these people are still following.
Yeah.
Then even if they scatter, you won't even know.
Like the other leaders you were talking about, did you not have leaders through whom you think you could go to reach him if you couldn't reach him directly?
Which other leaders?
That could be between you and the governor.
No, I did all I could.
You did all you
No, I did all I could. There are some things in life that there is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about it. Is at that point I felt it's either I quit politics entirely or I leave PDP, because they say there is light at the end of the tunnel. That's if there is a tunnel. At that point I saw that there is no longer tunnel here, so I felt it's either I take a U-turn,
wow,
or I even exit the politics entirely, because the level of trust, love and belief that I had at that point not only waned, disappeared.
Wow.
And to now trust anybody again, just like if you have been in an abusive relationship, it will take you time. You first of all must heal up.
But with all this experience that I've gone through, supposing His Excellency the Governor, Sheyi Makinde, sends for you, wrote him in this afternoon to say, my brother, I want to see you.
No, he's not that kind of person.
No.
He's not that kind of person.
You mean
no, I hate to build my castle in the air. I like to have realistic.
You have not allowed me to finish with the question. Supposing he reaches out to you, because you cannot also say that he can never. Don't say he's not a person.
I'm already a chieftain of another political party. On what basis will he be reaching out to me? Those who are in his party, has he reached out to all of them?
Okay.
So why would he be reaching out to me? He has not reached out to me all these years. So
it's too late.
No. There are some things that are no longer realistic.
Yes,
he's our governor.
Okay.
If in the capacity of the governor of
I'm looking at you as a former member of the media team. That's a very powerful responsibility.
It is from your own perspective, but if those people you serve felt you are, I described it as
less important.
No, disposable materials.
Oh my God,
that's why I described it. That if they see you as a disposable material,
you're using some very powerful words here this afternoon.
If they see you as a disposable material, there's nothing you can do about it. You recycle yourself and find relevance somewhere else.
Okay, the PDP and the APC, they stand the most prominent parties,
so to say.
Yes, and I want to ask you, one would have thought, and like many people were saying, why didn't Rotimi go to the APC? Oh, we thought he would go to the APC. What informed your choice of the SDP that you are in?
Well, my political inclination is slightly, in all modesty, is slightly different from the common one. I look at the party structure, then I also look at the leadership figure. Because there is a difference between the two. The party, by manifesto and other, media, attention, can have something that is different from what the leadership, figure of the party, expresses. So I had to look at the two to be comfortable. I have overtures from APC,
all right,
and of course SDP. Then there are different camps in APC too that wanted me, but I felt I'm more comfortable going to SDP, because the truth is
Ray Thompson. He says, sir, you left this, you left that. What exactly are you looking for? Are you a political prostitute? You are running around for juicy cakes, not to serve the people. My dear gentleman, that's someone taking you up there. What's your reaction to that?
Well, he's saying I left this, I left that. How many things have I left?
Well, he's saying
I only left PDP.
Okay.
And I stood.
And you couldn't go to APC because you had some.
I was with Governor Seyi Makinde. I stuck with him for many years. Okay. Even when he was in SDP, I was there. Exactly. He moved to PDP, I stuck with him.
Good.
I was actually following him.
From not
even the party as at then.
Okay.
So if I'm leaving now, I have every right to leave. If the figure, like I described it in my withdrawal letter, that it is very painful to discover and be struggling to climb a success ladder, only to get to the top and discover that that ladder was leaning on the wrong wall.
Anyway, Rotimi, okay, let's put that aside. Now, a lot of people say you have a relationship with Alhaja Honorable Mulikat Adeola.
What do you mean by relationship, sir?
No, wait a minute. That you had a relationship with her, maybe in trusts. Maybe they say it's probably because of Alhaja Mulikat that you moved. Don't think
those who think so.
Is that right?
They are not far from the truth. In fact, I never met her one-on-one. Okay. But my understanding of her nature, what I've read and heard about her, I was impressed that this, because in fact I regretted that I've not gotten closer to her before now, because the kind of leadership she displays and the maturity and magnanimity with which she leads her followers, I felt this is an exemplary leader.
Now you have come to know her, you are close to her.
And the funny part of it, because I'm sure that my state chairman will be listening, he was in the aggrieved, because I noticed that you treated this issue of aggrieved so well last week. It was in the aggrieved of the PDP while I was in the PDP.
Okay.
And because our route, is similar, we always meet each other on the road, and I will hail him, the chairman of, indefatigable chairman of the Agri PDP, and he will abuse me, jokingly. Okay. And whenever I see him on status, I say, indefatigable chairman of. So, but as Providence will have it, I will always remind him that you are now my indefatigable chairman. I never knew that the cane that they kept on the Aja was still going to whip the new wife. So eventually he just invited me, that look, come and be our state publicity secretary. Of course, by my faith I had to pray and hear God's guidance before leaving. But one thing that I found very interesting is that even in my local government I had no say.
Okay. Honorable Mulikat Adeola 1, you heard from God 2. What are the other things
relevance
that in principle attracted you to
relevance?
Relevance, how do you mean?
When others were inviting me to come and join their party, though I didn't ask, I just kept quiet. But he was not asking me to just come. He was dangling an offer immediately. Relevance, professional service too. So I felt, well, rather than quitting partisan politics, this will still give me a relevance. I will still be serving one way or the other. It is better to play even in a third, how do they describe it in the Premier League? Third division, and have a regular shit, than to be in Premiership and be on the bench.
The reserve bench, right?
You understand? So I just look at it from that perspective, that look, my service, my gifts will find me out. These ones are giving me now. I can now find a tunnel. So I will hope there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. But where I was, there was no tunnel.
All right, Rotimi, thank you very much. If you're just joining us, this is the hot seat, and we are on to Agidigbo on 88.7 FM, Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. My guest is Mr. Rotimi Johnson, aka Ojasope Adeniyi. My good brother, now let me ask you this question. How old are you in politics?
Well, I voted in 1999, but because of that kind of peculiar election, it was like a bastard to say you want to vote for PDP in 1999 election. So I had to disguise and my participation. But immediately after the election, I think in year 2000, I started active politics in PDP under the leadership of Alhaji Olalekan Adeogun of blessed memory and Chief Felix Adeyemi Odubiyi in Ibadan Northwest Local Government.
Thank you very much. You came up with something very, very sensitive now. What brought about that feeling that you will be a bastard in court if you voted for the PDP in
Because
99?
as at then, the Southwest endorsed, the AD as the Southwest Afenifere party, and they had a candidate. The two candidates were from Southwest, and they endorsed, I think.
Now today, what party is endorsed today? Is there any party endorsed today?
Well, there are crises, so I don't think the issue of endorsement really matters now like it used to be then.
You are in the SDP.
I'm the SDP.
How deeply rooted is SDP in your state?
SDP is so rooted that even this mic has the color of my party. Well, SDP is very rooted in your state.
What are the ideals? What are the philosophies? What are the policies of this great party of yours, the SDP? To the extent, of you seeing it as a viable, option to the PDP which you left, and
Serene environment, àyíká tó pa lọ́lọ́. Ó tún lọ́dún straight ní long away from Otimomo. Oúnjẹ àjẹpánu ńlá tilẹ̀ yìí yàtọ̀ dé òkun. Academy Suite ní long away from Otimomo. 08176666602. Academy Suite ní long away from Otimomo.
Ṣé àwọn bàbá wa ló ní bá a bá ń gbìngẹ̀ ọgbọ́n igi àbámọ̀là kọ́ fàtú bẹ́ẹ̀ sì rèé èrò lọ́bẹ̀ gbẹ̀gìrì ọ̀rẹ́ wa tó ń gbọ́ mi lónìí àṣeyọrí kan ò sí bí ẹni Èdùmàrè ní ó kọ́lé láyé ẹni bá nílé tó ń forí pamọ́ sí òun kúkú ní àṣírí rẹ̀ bò kì bá àṣẹlẹ̀ àkọ́gbé bó sì ṣẹlẹ̀ àkọ́tà k'Èdùmàrè jẹ́ kí a bá òun kọ́lé alárinrin Property Now òun làmí ẹ̀. nípa ká bá ní ta ilẹ̀ ta ilé ra ilé tàbí gbogbo tó jẹmọ́ dúkìá tí ẹ fẹ́ rà òun ni ilé-iṣẹ́ kan tó dúró láti ràn ní lọ́wọ́ kàn sí ilé-iṣẹ́ Property Now lẹ́ni ní Rainbow bus stop lójú ọ̀nà Ìwó road sí Ọ̀jọ́ Ìbàdàn tàbí kò lè sí nọ́mbà yìí 08167338033 tàbí kò sì kàn sórí wẹ́bsáìtì wa www.propertynow.com. Property Now.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM.
25 minutes to 4. You're back on the hot seat on Agidigbo 88.7 FM, Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. My guests, my good brother and friend, the PDP media team man before now, who has now moved to the SDP. You were on the ideals, the philosophies and policies of the SDP before we went on a short break.
Yes,
Rotimi.
You know, in 1993 we had Hope 93.
Hope 93. Michael Oscar, right?
Yes.
MK
So
Abiola,
in 2023 we are having Hope again. 2023. You know, things have gotten so bad. Thank God you are much older. If you heard the jingle of MK Abiola then, and you play it over again, you will be shocked that things have not gotten better 30 years after they have only gotten worse. And the social welfare of our people is the main focus of SDP. And that's why even our presidential candidate is declaring a state of emergency on poverty. Because we need to get, if it's not complimentary to hear that Nigeria.
Well, I expected you to mention your presidential candidate,
Prince Adewale Adebayo.
Okay, go
is
ahead.
our presidential candidate.
Okay.
No, a very vibrant man.
We will come back to that.
A very young man.
Don't worry, we're going to invite
You
him
are
here.
begging me to stop.
No, stop. Move ahead. There's no time for that yet. Move ahead.
So, SDP is providing alternative to what these same set of politicians, recycled leaders, to what they have been doing, because things have gotten so bad. We have been discussing this on the social media the last 48 hours. The rate at which Nigerians are jetting out of this country. In the 90s, you bear me witness that, because then you are so active in the media too. You remember Andrew Don't Check Out. The federal government had to come up with media propagation to discourage people from rushing out of Nigeria. But now, what has the federal government done? Nothing. And people are going out in droves. Just this afternoon, before stepping into this video, I still saw a lady, one of my media team member, when I was serving with Senator Kola Balogun, displaying her passport, entering into UK. It's that bad. Like I joked 3 days ago that Ojulari Amenton Japa. Now what because the way I'm looking at you now, right. I don't know if you have already gotten a job in a media station in UK. It's that bad because our workforce, they are hesitating in their droves, and it's very, very alarming. And the government of the day is not even seeing anything wrong in it.
You guys can start moving all about. At 65, I cannot.
No, I was only teasing you. But who knows if your children, you have already packaged them to leave? because the truth is, when people get visa to leave Nigeria, the next thing is congratulations.
Anyway, let's come back to your state.
It's congratulations. It's an irony.
Who is your gubernatorial candidate?
Wow. Barrister Michael Folorunshor Lano,
just hold it. The people's lawyer. Very good.
When I want to talk about these people, you tell me to hold
because it's expensive, to do that. And this is a political period.
You are tickling me when I mention their name.
Then you will know there's still a lot of work to do. You're going to give me his contact. I'm going to ask him. He's going to come here.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Tell me, do you think he has the credentials to take over Government House from Engineer Seyi Makinde? Is he that powerfully?
Well, it depends on what you mean by credentials. But when you're talking about
political
competence,
look, when I say credentials, I mean whatever enhances his competence.
I was pulling your legs too.
the political landscape here, where they are court party, right? Former Senator Agidigbo FM was there, and we had Labour, Otumba Adebayo Alawakala. Then Seyi Makinde, the engineer governor, was in the SDP. Ajimobi was there, and Ajimobi floored them all. Okay,
with 32%.
It doesn't matter. Let it be 10%. He floored them. Ajimobi became governor. Now wait a minute.
Thank God is them.
Now she is there. Do you see a repeat of that in 2023?
That he will be flogged again.
That he will flog all others. Or what do you think you have that it takes, to...
I don't see a repeat of what happened in 2015 happening again.
Why?
Because the electorates are more enlightened now. That's one. Two, the electoral process has changed. Those days of manipulations and electoral fraud are gone forever in Nigeria, and we must come to this realization to be able to see a new dispensation during and after the election. So I don't see a repeat of what happened in 2015 happening again. I see a situation where, forget the figure the governor was mentioning. If he mistakenly emerges as the governor, I'm 100% sure.
Did you say mistakenly?
Yes, I'm 100% sure that he can't have that.
You should say
he can't have that 154,000 margin.
I thought you would say if he eventually, not mistakenly.
No, because there are plots, and there are stalwarts and gladiators working against him more than for him. That's the truth. And you need gatekeepers. You need these gladiators. They must either be in your party or work cross party, which we now describe as coalition, to favor your emergence as the governor.
So do you see the emergence of another coalition now working against him?
I can't say categorically now.
No, but I've just said,
yes, I'm telling you that it must happen.
Must?
Yes, it must.
Or could?
No, coalition happen in that of 2019 was unprecedented for people to come out openly to say that we are no longer contesting, we are ceding our candidature to this man. That was the coalition. But before then, you see people quietly withdraw from the race, not coming out to the open, but releasing their machinery to ensure that someone else succeed in the election. That's why I said it's either cross-party arrangement or coalition, in which case they come out in the open and make a joint press conference to admit that, look, I'm withdrawing for the race because I believe this man in social party will also be able to discharge.
Now, using specific indices, this is not the first time you are vying, and will you say you have identified the reasons you didn't get the ticket then, and that's
in my former party,
right? And now that you are going, you got a ticket now in SDP. What are the things you are doing to make sure that some other things don't work against you, even winning the elections? Because if within a party you did not win, those guys are still there waiting for you. What gives you the assurance that you will win in the election?
No, the game of picking ticket within the party, particularly the major political parties, is essentially a game of money. In 2018, to be precise.
Maybe you have to take this along with that, since you brought in the issue of money. Playing politics, winning elections.
I will have answered your question anyway, because that's where I'm going.
No, wait. Let me just think so you can take it together.
I'm not a money bag.
Who are you being sponsored?
Or who is bankrolling me?
Or who is bankrolling you? Or how do you intend to succeed? Since money plays a major role in getting people through now.
I will come back to that. So in 2018, I was asked to step down.
I got just 6 more minutes, Rotim, so you got to be fast now.
Yeah, okay. In 2018, I was asked to step down because of Ibadan Northwest agenda, so that we only present a candidate.
Okay.
And the party leader sat down and told me to my face that, look, this other candidate has money to face the candidate from Southwest, who they also believe has money. Eventually, he lost to the candidate in Southwest. And now sat down with myself. So, of what essence was my stepping down for this man? You told me that he has money. So, I stepped down for him.
So excellence and
was traded off for money.
Oh my God!
So now I'm in a party where a couple of their leaders looked at me. They look at my antecedents and my commitment, that if you can be this loyal to one man all these years, and you have been vying for this post, and you have this competence and this character, let's give you the ticket to go and do it again.
Now you want to go to the House of Representatives. Supposing you win in elections,
by the grace of God, I'm going to win.
What are the changes you think you can effect as a member of the House of Representatives?
The number one thing is, because you are representing the people.
Oh my God, Rotimi, you made me forget. Should have been taking calls. Oh my God. 070410018887. Okay, go ahead. Let's hope some calls.
The fundamental thing of a representative is you must remain connected to your people. You can't represent people you have dissociated with. You can't represent people you don't know. So I've seen a pattern. Once they get there, they cut off from the people. And that is to their own undoing anyway. Because if you don't keep in touch with the people, you don't know what they really need. In Nigeria, politicians are so used to giving people what they think they should need. Now, and it is wrong.
Now, are you sure if you get to the House of Representatives, you'll still be reachable? Because what people say is that once they get there, they don't...
I've weathered the storm and I've remained consistent in my words and in my character. And I think that should be enough for the people to be able to judge.
Okay. Oh, that one went off. Now, what is your focal point?
My focal point is availability and accountability. We can break that down, but I always want my people to remember those two things: availability and accountability. You can hold me to that. Even if you wake me from the sleep suddenly.